Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jessica. It's so good to have you here. I make content for growing families, and today's video is with a friend and nutritionist, body image expert of sorts. And so we are going to talk about pregnancy, postpartum. It's kind of a Q&A style video. I opened it up on Instagram for you to submit questions, and we're going to give you answers. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel. You can turn on the little bell notification so then you'll know when I make new content. If you want more of my family, you can follow me on Instagram at Jess_Hover. If you are a parent looking for more support, you can join us on Facebook. We have a group, Jess Hover and Friends, really awesome people in there. Answer the questions so we can let you in and know that you're real and great. And thank you so much to everybody who's been shopping Very Good Mothers Club, our small business. You are making it possible for us to keep making content for you. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And today's video is a partnership with a company that we love. So we're gonna pause and tell you about them for a minute. Thank you so much to Dope for partnering with us for this video. Legit cookie dough, so good, but safe to eat raw. Dope ditches the eggs and heat treats the flour so that you can eat it raw or bake it into the cookies. Each flavor starts with simple ingredients that you can pronounce: flour, brown sugar, flaxseed, butter, vanilla, and baking soda. Every purchase of Dope helps provide mental health care and substance abuse treatment to those in need. After getting sober in 2015, Kelsey, the founder of Dope, set off to make the world a little better and a lot sweeter. And so, every purchase of Dope helps provide mental health care and substance abuse treatment to those in need. Click the link in our description to buy some Dope. Have I ever been able to say that and mean it? Do it. It will add a free mystery pint to your order when you click buy now. And then we can eat cookie dough together while watching the rest of my video about nutrition. How about that? So this is my friend, my new friend, Lizzy, and she's a nutritionist. And what I want to tell you first is I just have such an appreciation for people who do what she does. When I was 19, 20 years old, I struggled really intensely with an eating disorder, with really distorted view of my own body, of really the female body in general. And what I ended up doing was scheduling an appointment with a nutritionist. And I went and I said, I need help understanding what's good for my body, what does my body need right now, and how much of it does it need, when do I eat, what's like the right amount, because I was lost. And it was a nutritionist who helped me to understand what was going to be good for me. And I trusted this person and I did what they said. And honestly, it was a huge piece in me finding a healthy relationship with food and a healthy relationship with my own body. So that's new information for you, but I really respect what you do. And I think that it's so important. And so I'm excited to be able to share with you guys today. And mostly I'm going to be taking the stuff that you've given me and presenting it to her and letting her speak to us collectively. So even though I'm on this side of the camera, I'm gonna kind of be sitting right there next to you, watching her teach us about our bodies and what would be good for us. So before we begin, would you go ahead and give us kind of a big picture? Who are you and what brought you to this bed here today to be talking to them?
First of all, I am so grateful for you having me and the opportunity to be able to share my knowledge and my journey as well. So as you shared, so many women and men meet this minefield of information, and it really is difficult to know what to eat, what not to eat, you know, how to achieve a healthy, balanced diet and relationship with food.
Yeah.
And I come from across the pond.
The accent, isn't it beautiful? You know I'm an accent person. If you've been around a while, I love them. And this is good.
So I come from across the pond, but I come from a very similar story. So I suffered from an eating disorder as a teenager. I had anorexia and sort of decided one day that I wanted to be healthy, but I turned to magazines, online. I didn't know what I was doing. I was naive. And that made me very ill for a very long time. But that helped me find my passion in nutrition and actually learning how to nourish my body and I trained as a nutritionist, and that sort of really started a passion for helping other women to love their bodies. So I am now a nutritionist that helps women in the UK as well as the US with their nutrition, and I'm also currently writing a book all about self-love and how to reclaim our right, because it is a right, to unconditional love for our bodies. And I am so excited about being able to share some of that material today and just, you know, help you ladies out, because this really is the ultimate thing that you can do, is to achieve that nourishment in mind and body. So,
and I guess I should say, I've spoken to you as if you're women, but I do recognize that a lot of men watch my channel too. And so if that is you and you are watching, we will speak to you too, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
This will be relevant to all of you, but I know that many of you are pregnant watching. So for the pregnant people, we're going to talk a lot about pregnancy, because a lot of the questions that came were specifically about pre-baby, post-baby body. And your book, how about below this video, I will link any information that you would want them to know. Your Instagram, your any information about contacting you, I'll put all of that below.
Sounds
so
perfect.
You can be in touch.
When we're breastfeeding, it's actually recommended that we increase our calories. So I think it's around 500 calories per day, both in the UK and US, is what's recommended for breastfeeding women. And by increasing our calorie intake, that's super important for nourishing our bodies as well as our newborn baby, but it also means that we are increasing our energy intake. And when we increase our energy intake, sometimes that means that we can gain weight. Please don't be alarmed if you do see that and you're not seeing yourself lose weight. In order to lose weight, we need to be in an energy deficit. So my advice would be, don't rush into trying to lose weight too quickly. Make sure that you're focusing on nourishing yourself and your baby with enough of that energy, enough of those calories. And some bodies are different. Some bodies will need less energy than others, and therefore when we're increasing our calorie intake, we'll gain weight slightly. And some bodies will need those extra calories and use absolutely everything that it's got, and therefore might lose weight.
I'm thinking of someone very particular, my sweet little sister.
Yes.
She had her baby about 7 weeks ago, and Meredith, I think you're okay with me speaking about you because you've already been on the channel a few times, but she's feeling that tension of she's breastfeeding, but the breastfeeding alone isn't causing her to lose weight, so she's tempted to diet right now, restrict calories. What you're saying, it sounds like, is now's not the time to focus on that. That if your body's going to gain a bit of weight, that's actually okay. That's the right thing for this time.
Absolutely, yes. And I would say to give your body grace. I think a lot of women get into the trap of feeling like they need to regain their body postpartum that they had before they were pregnant. And this is something that as a society we're sort of almost guilted into, that we need to retain exactly the same image as we did before.
For sure.
And naturally, you know, giving birth, our identity changes slightly. So there's so much stuff going on, and it can feel rather overwhelming and rather frustrating just because of that message that we need to become a certain way. And really it's not like that. It's your story and your body that you're speaking into and nourishing, so make sure that you treat it kindly and just focus on putting the nourishment in at this stage. That is a really great question, and again, it kind of relates back to what we're telling ourselves. I call them stories. A lot of people call them beliefs. So how can you turn around the stories about the stretch marks into positive ones, and how do you want to see your body and start seeing that instead of seeing the things that you were telling yourself. So I can personally relate to this. I had a massive scar across my stomach from when I was a baby. I had an intussusception, which is where your stomach telescopes in on itself, and had to have emergency surgery. And it left a scar. It massive scar. And I used to be, especially when I was a teenager, really, really self-conscious because, you know, you wear a bikini and it'd be very visible. But I started reframing the story about, you know, or it makes me look like I've got a roll in my stomach, or it's just so ugly. Those were the things that I was telling myself. And would you tell your best friend that?
No.
No, absolutely not. So why tell yourself that? So we had a choice to reframe. So I said, okay, so that's my survival scar. That's, you know, what my body did for me, and that I survived. So your stretch marks, you just carried a life with you. How amazing is that? So I'd say, you know, it's not anything that physical that you can work on. It's all what you're telling yourself.
And it's true, because it's basically you're making a decision about yourself. And if you decide that you are ugly, you decide you're unattractive, you're inferior, you can find every reason in the world to conclude that. Even if you don't have stretch marks, you'll find any other reason to figure that out. You probably felt that way about yourself to some capacity before this baby even entered your body. And if we did the opposite and determined that we are beautiful, worthy, valuable, amazing beings, then we'll find reasons to validate that truth. And stretch mark is evidence. It's a mark of the fact that you just did an incredible, miraculous, totally insane, amazing thing of growing a little life and carrying that life out. And if we end up with a stretch mark to remind us that happened, then it's going to require some natural reframing, especially because we live in a world that is one where it's like, you didn't get a stretch mark. Oh, did you get any stretch marks? How did you not get a stretch mark? What are you going to do about those stretch marks? Like that's the noise. But most people, I think, get stretch marks. People get stretch marks even before they have kids.
Yeah, and it's like cellulite, right?
Yeah.
So we're so programmed to see in the external world so much editing, so much filtering out of all of the so-called imperfections that we have, that we're kind of giving ourselves grief about cellulite, stretch marks, when in fact, I think like 90% of women, whatever size, weight, shape they are, have cellulite of some form.
That's true.
So it's very normal to have these experiences of, you know, looking in the mirror and seeing something that you talk negatively about, but as you say, it's all about the reframing.
It's fair to need a little bit of time to adjust to the newness of these things on your body. I think that's a bit shocking. Just whatever changes happen during pregnancy and postpartum, I think the reframing we're talking about, it's normal if it takes time. It's normal if it doesn't come naturally. Sometimes we even need a little extra motivation to do it. Like, why do that to yourself? It feels a bit like you're lying, kind of probably what you felt when you were first saying I love you to yourself in the mirror. It feels a little bit like, well, I'm lying. I'm just trying to make myself feel better for being ugly. But I think that sometimes what helps, for me it helps to realize that I never want my children to hate their own appearance. I never do. It grieves me on the inside to think about my own kids who I adore ever feeling hatred towards their own appearance. So what I understand about kids is that they are looking to their parents to understand how to see themselves. And it's more than just my daughters looking to me to tell them, like, Eloise, you are beautiful. Your body is amazing. Or Jules, your body is amazing. What they're looking for is, how does mom respond to mom's body? Because one day they're going to get older and their body is going to resemble my body in some way. And what I want them to be able to see is me looking at my own body and not treating my body like it failed me. But even if I see my body and there's something I don't love about it, being able to kind of doing what you're just saying, the reframing thing of like, okay, my body is really squishy right now. Yep, mom just had a baby. Isn't that crazy? Mom had a baby and now her body's so squishy. Oh, that's interesting. Like, how funny. It didn't used to be, it is now. And then if there's things we want to change about our bodies or modify or something in love, my kids could watch me do that too. Mom works out because mom cares about her body and wants it to be healthy and wants it to live long. And so then eventually my kids, as they get older, can carry that into the way that they relate to their own body. And so the reason why I say all of that to you is that sometimes it's not enough for me to love my body for myself. It's not enough to just, I wish I had peace with my body. Okay, now I will have peace with my body. It's more that I need to know that these kids are looking to me for an example, because that is where I find strength to do what I'm doing. In whatever stage of life that applies. When I didn't have kids, I thought a lot about my sister, about my close friends, about people who I knew who looked up to me.
Yep.
So it's kind of grabbing for meaning and grabbing for a story that will help you to relate to yourself in a way that brings positivity versus negativity and heaviness.
Yeah. Oh, you know, the benefits just ripple out from, you know, when you can talk to yourself in that way, in a way that you would talk to your children, your best friend. It's just, it's mind-blowing. So not only do you have a better relationship with yourself, you improve your relationship with others, you waste less time focusing on the stuff that doesn't matter anymore, you spend less money on the fad diets, and just feel this inner peace, which I would just want for every woman and man out there, you know?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, especially if that's something that you really enjoyed in pregnancy and before. I think it's a really great way to just keep your body moving, doing something for you, and you know, that has huge mental and physical benefits. But again, it's all about balance, right? So, you know, having a balance in terms of what we're feeding our body and a balance in terms of how we're moving our body. You know, too much is sometimes just as bad as too little.
You can trust yourself. If you are exhausted, that's probably not the time for you to think you need to go move too much. A nice walk with the baby might feel good, some fresh air. Sometimes we're exhausted, but we actually can't sleep yet because the baby's not sleeping or something, and a walk can just help you feel like you're alive.
Commercially and through the diet industry, through, you know, adverts, we're kind of told that we don't have something, and in fact we often do have it. And it's all about learning that, you know, healthy and balanced is something that intuitively we know. It's not necessarily, you know, what the latest commercial is telling us. It's not the latest fad. It's not cutting out certain food groups. It's about trusting what your body's telling you. You know, if you feel tired, you know, give yourself a rest.
Yeah. That's good.
You know, you feel like you want a snack, you're hungry, and you're feeling into your body and it's telling you those signals, just honor that.
Yeah, that's really good.
So maintaining gut health essentially means making sure that our digestive system is functioning optimally. And we can do this in many ways, and it's important both, again, for our physical and mental well-being. I find it really, really fascinating. Have you ever heard of the phrase butterflies in your stomach?
Yes.
Yes. So there's truth in that, right? So when you're anxious, you feel it in your stomach. Your gut and your brain are connected by something called the vagus nerve. So anything that goes on in your gut also is affecting your brain and vice versa. So making sure that we have a healthy gut is really, really important. We can do this several ways. The first way is making sure that we're eating enough fiber. Now, fiber sounds super, super unsexy. Spinach. Spinach. You get fiber in a lot of fruits and veggies. That's where all of that kind of comes from. But also whole grains, oats, that kind of thing. And it's really essential for just keeping our digestive system moving, and feeding our gut bacteria. So
probiotics, is that good?
So probiotics, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. So some fiber is a good source also with prebiotics. Now prebiotics is the food through our probiotics. So the food through our probiotics is called prebiotics, and probiotics are our gut bacteria themselves.
Got it. Okay.
So fiber sometimes provides prebiotics, and it just helps everything kind of like keep moving. You need about 30 grams per day. We tend to, as a population, have about half.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's really, really important. So step one, eat your veggies. Veggies. And step two is take some probiotics. So, A star. Best way of getting it, easiest way of getting it is through taking a supplement. There are a ton on the market, so it's really, really difficult to give a specific recommendation because everybody's gut is different. And that's something that I kind of work with people on. But some foods are a good source of probiotics.
Okay.
So things that have been fermented.
Yes.
So like kombucha, that's why it's really popular in health circles. Even sourdough that's been fermented. Amazing. Those sorts of foods are really...
I drank kombucha while pregnant and breastfeeding. I don't know across the board if they say that's good or bad. You could talk with your doctor to be sure, but I drank it during pregnancy and I drink it now.
The night oats, super, super simple. Just throw some oatmeal and some milk of your choice and some fruit and some nuts in a jar. Put it in the fridge overnight and voila, you have a healthy, nutritious breakfast with protein, carbohydrates, fats, all of the good stuff. Okay. For lunch, something like, a baked potato with some kind of protein. It depends if you're vegetarian, vegan, etc. But I like to have a jack potato or a baked potato, sorry.
I like that.
I'm bringing in my Englishisms.
That's good.
I like tuna, but you can also have the English soaks baked beans. Or cheese, or chili. Okay. Those kinds of things. They're super, super easy. Okay. What I really love to do also for dinner is use my crock pot. Super, super useful if you're time poor. Just throw a bunch of ingredients into the crock pot in the morning, put the lid on, let it cook for 6 to 8 hours, and then voila, you have a delicious meal.
Yeah. So, and the home smells good too, which is a nice feeling.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's good.
And then my final tip really is, in terms of meals, is to make large batches and then save some for leftovers the next day or freeze it. In terms of snacks, it really depends on what type of person you are, if you're sweet or savoury. I'm a sweet person, so I like to snack on things like a piece of fruit with some peanut butter. You've got some healthy fibre, some carbohydrates with a little bit of fat and protein, and that's really what you're aiming for with a snack. If you're more on the savoury side, some popcorn, that's always really good, or a handful of trail mix. So be mindful of trying to get all of the nutrients in, your protein, carbohydrates and fat.
I love to have eggs that I can hard boil if I don't have time to actually look over the stove, but I have it boiling and then I can have it later. Fruit, veggies, kind of protein bars. Sometimes smoothies are nice if you have time to make a smoothie.
With that, I think I would just recommend make sure that you've got some protein in there in the smoothie, just to slow down the release of the sugar into your bloodstream. Good. So like protein powder or some yogurt.
That's
or
what
something.
I do.
Yeah,
I'm doing it.
Don't put pressure on yourself to be a certain way at a certain time, but there are certain things that you can do. Mostly it relates to exercises as opposed to your nutrition. Obviously having a healthy balanced diet is going to help, but doing some exercises that specifically target your core muscles can really be great. So things like Russian twists or mountain climbers, and just doing a small gentle set in your daily routine. You can just easily fit it in 10 minutes after you've brushed your teeth. That can be really good at slowly, gradually transforming your body so that you've got that more toned physique. In terms of the shape shifting and also being able to sort of tone that area, might work for one person, might not work for the other.
And it's okay if that takes time. I feel like there's a lot of pressure, but I'm on my third child that I just had now 5 months ago, and my body's still quite soft. It's weight wise, I don't actually know what I weigh, so I don't choose to weigh myself because it messes with my head a little too much. The numbers, I just don't find it to be the most helpful way for me to live. Probably because I had a lot of issues with this at one time in life. But fit wise, my clothes are fitting in a way that it works. I bought bigger pants and I just try to wear things that feel comfortable and flattering. I think in a few months, I may feel more in a space where I can focus on tightening certain parts of me that are soft right now. But I don't know. I think you can take your time. The pressure to be a certain shape and tightness might be an external pressure that we don't actually have to carry right now if we're working on keeping our babies squishy and feeding those babies so that they are healthy and nourished and taken care of, whether that's from our own breast or formula feeding. That is a big undertaking, and it's time consuming, and we're running on very little sleep. And so just, I don't know, I guess my advice, like in a sisterly type way, would be just take care of yourself, like survive this season that is very, very, very demanding. And it's okay if you're a little more squishy than you hoped you would be right now.
Yeah.
Eventually you'll have more time to focus on tightening bits that need tightened.
Absolutely. And it's also looking at, first of all, the stories that you're telling yourself and the language that you're using towards your body. So, you know, are you talking to it in a nice way? And you reminded me, actually, whilst you were speaking, of the really cool exercises that I've used in the past, actually, because I was very insecure about my facial appearance. And it's the mirror exercise.
Okay.
And essentially, you stand in front of the mirror for a mildly uncomfortable amount of time, like 5 minutes. It doesn't sound like long, but it feels like an eternity. And look at your body.
Okay.
And you tell it, I love you.
Whoa.
I cannot recommend this highly enough. It is huge. And within probably 2 weeks, I felt so differently about my body. My inner mean girl, so judgmental first time round.
You can really.
Yeah. And first time round, I was so frustrated because it felt hollow. It was just like, I love you. Did it the next day, and it gradually builds, and it's a total game changer. So
that is so cool.
Yeah.
You know what's kind of sweet about that is, from a mom's standpoint, I have no problem at all. In fact, I don't even think about it. But when I'm holding my little ones, I have 3, it's very natural to say I love you to their little bodies. Like, I love your little face. I love your little feet. I mean, I just did it this morning before coming here to film. And so it's kind of tapping into that kind of love that's very easy to give someone that you love.
Yeah.
I could do it to my sister too. It'd be a little awkward to just start adoring her body, but I actually feel that love towards her and her shape. But yeah, to be able to look myself in the mirror and say I love you to my body, I will do it. I'll do it. But I could imagine, I mean, I already know it will be a little bit weird, but it's so good. And I if I could feel that same kind of affection towards myself and kind of compassion towards myself that I feel towards my people, that would be life-changing. So let's do that. Let's be the weird, wonderful people who love ourselves and our reflection.
Yeah,
I like
absolutely.
that. I have a couple good friends who they are experts in exercise, and especially like the postpartum exercise. I would love to tap into some of those resources, and so they can even cover some things that we aren't going to be experts in. Okay, so I'll do that in a future video. I'll have someone who can tell us a little bit more about how to move to tighten the parts we want to tighten. But in this video, what you're going to get is a gentle reminder to just be gentle on yourself in this whole process.
So there is some evidence to suggest that too much caffeine in pregnancy can result in a low birth weight and premature babies.
Oh, interesting.
So essentially, babies in the womb don't have a fully developed metabolism, and even when they're born, their metabolism is still not as developed as ours. So they can't metabolize caffeine quite like an adult body.
Okay.
And that means that raising their system, raises their heart rate, and can cause these issues in the womb. Postpartum, same thing, get into the mother's milk and be passed on to the baby. So I would advise, whilst you still can have your cup of coffee in the morning, thank goodness, to limit it to around 200 milligrams per day. So that's about, I believe, a 12-ounce Starbucks.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I break that rule. So I might have been good about the fiber and probiotics and smoothies, but I'm probably overkilling the caffeine. Here, there's some in here, and I didn't really notice it being a huge deal with my other pregnancies, but this one, not during pregnancy, but postpartum, it's fallen out.
Well, I think you've got lovely hair.
Thank you.
And I know for a lot of women, it
Yeah.
can feel very distressing though when they experience hair loss. I've experienced it in the past when I had my eating disorder.
Yeah.
There are some things that we can do nutrition-wise. So, for example, make sure that you're getting enough biotin, which is B7, from things like eggs. You can also take supplements, but I'm always like, get everything that you need from food first.
Okay.
But eggs are a great source, nuts and seeds, that kind of thing. But also make sure that you're getting enough protein as well. Our hair is basically protein, so make sure that you're getting enough of that. Lean meat, beans, pulses. But a lot of the time hair loss isn't related to nutrition. So it can be related to our hormones, and it can be related to stress. Two things that we experience postpartum.
Yes, totally.
So generally what happens is that our hair loss will slow down eventually. So it's really just sort of like hanging in there, making sure that your diet is balanced, and managing stress levels.
Yeah. Right. If it's hormonal, there's not a lot that you're going to be able to control there. It's just going to happen, and then it passes and your hair grows back, and then you have these really funny little baby hairs that dance all around.
I've got them
and
too.
then and then they grow and then they're fine.
And the term healthy is just so broad. So my question to you would be, what do you think is healthy? Because again, in marketing, healthy can be used to mislead us. But to me, healthy means having a varied, balanced diet full of all the macronutrients, the protein, carbohydrate, fat, and micronutrients, so your vitamins and minerals, needed to keep you from staying in tip-top shape, so feeling good, and also having a balance between the energy that you consume and the energy that you use. So having that balance, and again, everyone is very different. So if you're breastfeeding, for example, you need more energy, so you will feel hungrier than you were before you got pregnant.
And when you're pregnant, you're growing.
Yeah, exactly. So you need more calories in the third trimester, particularly, because that's kind of like the final part of the baby growing and developing. So listen to your body. If you feel hungry, eat.
Yeah.
If you're feeling tired, have a rest, but it also may be because you're lacking in some of the nutrients. So having so having enough iron, for example, having enough of the B vitamins.
Where do you get those iron and B vitamins?
Great question. So B vitamins generally tend to be the vitamins.
I'm only gonna say
you can keep recording that. Vitamin.
Yes. I also liked when she said tip-top shape.
That's
what I want to be.
Shape. Cheerio.
Okay.
So B vitamins, or vitamins. I'm kind of like being bilingual now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she lives here. You got your master's at UCLA, is that right?
I did. So I trained at UCLA after studying in the UK. So
amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Tangent.
Go UCLA. Yeah. But B vitamins, you get in whole grains. So again, like your wholemeal bread, pasta, oats, those are really great sources of the B vitamins. And then in terms of iron, the best source, I'm not going to lie, is red meat. So red meat in moderation is actually really quite good for you. But you can also get iron in things like spinach, remember Popeye, things like beans, lentils. There are a lot of good sources of iron in terms of fish, meat. All of the kind of animal products generally contain iron in a good amount. But if you are vegan or vegetarian, you can get plenty of iron in your diet from those plant-based sources. Portion control, that is, again, individualized. And I have a really great rule of thumb, literally. So for each meal, thumb of fats, fist of protein, and a cupped hand of carbohydrates.
Thumb of fats, fist
of protein, and then a cupped hand of carbohydrates. For each meal. And that kind of scales nicely to your body size.
Are carbohydrates or vegetables?
So carbohydrates are vegetables as well as fruit and the whole grains that I was talking about. So your bread, pasta, rice, potatoes.
Yeah. Great. So that's a balanced meal.
That's a balanced meal, yes. And that is what I would consider as healthy in a healthy portion.
Yeah. And then snacking in between?
You can snack in between. Some people like larger meals,
Okay.
And then don't snack. Other people like to graze throughout the day.
Okay.
But it's perfectly fine to snack. Again, it depends on what your body's telling you.
Yeah.
I'm a grazer, so I
Okay.
like to have one snack in the morning and one snack in the afternoon, and then 3 meals.
Cool.
So,
I do the same. I like to eat throughout. And I found, if you're pregnant, this might be helpful to you. I found that my nausea was less intense when I wasn't hungry. So I pretty much was always like a midway full so that I wouldn't get sick, because I was sick a lot during this pregnancy.
Your children are really looking to you as models for how to eat. So I'd say in general, make sure that they're having a balanced diet overall, but aren't restricting anything. If they would like a slice of cake, it's just about, portion control and making sure that they know that they can't eat cake every meal.
Right.
About having that balance and really introducing them to a variety of foods early so that they have a wide palate.
And as a mother of some kids who have a pretty narrow palate, you can just keep reintroducing the foods. I think for us, we just keep trying and trying and trying until eventually they like certain things. And the stuff, like there's some vegetables that I just cannot get my 5-year-old to eat, but there are some that she does. So I offer the ones she does and then just keep kind of trying the other ones.
And you can be kind of quite sneaky and creative with it as well.
True.
Yeah.
I sometimes cook it and blend it into other things. And there are times that she's eating things that she doesn't know she's eating. So that's good. I feel like it's success. They can be in touch with you. Is that right?
Absolutely.
If they have more personal questions.
Yeah. I'm a complete nutrition nerd. So any questions about nutrition, please contact me. And any questions about loving your body more, also please
awesome.
Message me.
Great. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for watching. Please do be in touch with her. Also, we love to see conversations happen in the comments. So if you heard something and it stood out to you, tell us about what that was, and we'd love to see you guys interact with one another about this video. Thank you so much, and we will see you again soon. Bye.